Am I the a-hole? And it's by user Weird Fisherman 9638. Am I the a-hole for basically crashing out at my mother-in-law over the gender of our baby? Hi all, just felt I needed to share this and ask for some other perspectives. So I, 26 female, and my husband, 32 male, married for 2 years, been together for 5, are expecting our first child. We are both thrilled and excited for our new arrival. I am not first on the gender of my baby. Neither is my husband. We just want a healthy and happy baby. Thus, we have not found out the gender. Rather, we want a surprise. Or at least I thought. I had a pretty good relationship with my mother-in-law. Thus, I have been updating her on my progress, giving her the ultrasound images and so forth. I'm about 8 months in, not long to go, and my mother-in-law has been dying to know the gender, constantly asking if we have changed our mind. And time after time, my husband and I say our minds are set on a surprise. However, all this changed recently. We live in a small town. I had some mutual family friends approach me in the middle of the supermarket and congratulate me and my husband on having a baby and how exciting it is to have a little boy. First, I was taken aback and expressed, "We do not know the gender of the baby," where the family friend replied that, "Oh yes, mother-in-law's name told us it was a boy." I didn't say anything at the time, just smiled and turned to my husband and kind of just went, "You need to investigate this." He called his mother, asked for an explanation, and she explained that she had asked her friend, showed images of the ultrasound, works in the medical field or midwifery, and she confirmed it was a boy. My mother-in-law has gone and told everyone. I am furious that I, the mother, is finding this out last, when I did not even want to know. My husband questioned her and was told that I just wanted to know, and I couldn't keep it to myself. My husband cussed her out furiously, explaining that it was not okay. I then grabbed the phone and handed it to her, expressing my deep disappointment and anger, and how I do not want to see her for a while. However, my 2 sisters-in-law and 2 brothers-in-law have called me the a-hole and expressed that I shouldn't talk to her like that. She's very upset about this. You overreacted. It's not even that bad. My husband completely supports me in this, but I find it strange that no family members have contacted him and called him the a-hole. Maybe I did overreact. Would love some constructed feedback. So, am I the a-hole? OP, you're not the a-hole. You set a clear boundary. Your mother-in-law ignored it, dug for private info, and then spread it, robbing you of a moment that was yours. And that was not a mistake. It was a choice that she made. Curiosity isn't an excuse for violating trust. And when you confronted her, you stayed firm and honest. That's not an overreaction. That's basically holding the boundary. And your in-laws defending her is just way off base. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong, so you don't need to apologize for anything, OP. You were just protecting what mattered to you. So moving forward, OP, I would confront your mother-in-law and tell her that she made a choice that hurt you. Then you let your husband take point and handle his own mother. You do limit the updates on the baby, and you stay firm. If she apologizes, great. If not, the boundary holds. What do you guys think? Short update OPs in post-update. We live in Australia, so we have a Privacy Act. Honestly not interested in a lawsuit. I would simply rather just have the baby in peace and not worry about the legalities. However, my husband has contacted his family and called for a family meeting with his mother and siblings for tonight. Note, his father, my father-in-law, has nothing to do with his mother, divorced, and he supports me and my husband fully. My husband said it's up to me if I wish to attend. Well, the community agrees that Opie is not the a-hole, and let's not waste any time and move straight on to the update to see how the family meeting went. My apologies for the late update. A lot has happened in the last couple days. I needed some time to think, and life just happens. Where to start? Family meeting. I decided to attend so I could require first-hand information rather than my husband providing me a recount. I also decided to attend as, this is something I need to deal with myself, not just allow my husband to do the talking and essentially hide behind him. We arrived and immediately the atmosphere was tense. Did I cling on to my husband like a little girl? Yes, I did. Alas, when we finally made it to the table, everyone was sitting in silence. Mother-in-law, my 2 sisters-in-law, my 2 brothers-in-law. It was so bloody awkward. I believe the only thing that extinguished the awkwardness was my husband, immediately cutting to the point and explaining that he will not tolerate any disrespect to his wife, direct quote, from any of you a-holes, and that he felt disrespected, and that his mother had no right to inquire about the gender of the baby, the way she went about it, how she told people. Immediately the atmosphere shifted. My mother-in-law looked tense and guilty, and both my brothers-in-law and one of my sisters-in-law looked horrified. My sister-in-law immediately explained, "Mother-in-law did not tell me this. She told me you abused her over simply wanting to know the sex of the baby." How the tables turned. 3 of my siblings' in-laws were enraged that their mother had lied and tried to spin the story her way. They all apologized profusely to me, explaining they did not know. The table exploded with cusses thrown at mother-in-law from all 3 of the siblings, all expressing, "Mom, that was not okay. That was effed. You didn't have a right to do this." Not saying I enjoyed watching this throwdown. I most definitely did. But I appreciated how my siblings' in-laws immediately apologized to me and my husband and supported our claim. My mother-in-law broke into tears and apologized for her actions and expressed her heartfelt, sincerest apologies. I would like to say that I believe I am a very forgiving person. However, I did not forgive. I suppose my unforgiveness stems from the fact that she only seemed somewhat apologetic once the majority of the family heard the truth and turned against her. My husband agrees that it doesn't sit right. We are also having a tough time with my husband's sister. Let's call her Leanna, still believing that it is not, I quote, the biggest of deals, and I still overreacted. Leanna and I have never got along, and I suppose I expect nothing different, as she is in nicety terms that's being nice, must take after my mother-in-law. My husband has explained to his mother that we are taking a step back from her life as our privacy was breached, and that we expect a drastic change in behavior if she wishes to meet her grandchild. My other sister-in-law, let's call her Judy, supports this decision entirely, as she too, when pregnant with my nephew, felt pressure in telling her mother the sex of the baby and felt smothered the entire pregnancy. Judy has since stayed over at our house and has helped get things ready for our little arrival. She has apologized profusely and couldn't have been a better support throughout this time. She also believes that her mother has a lot of change happening in her life and some bloody reflection on her actions. I have obtained the phone number of my mother-in-law's friend and had a conversation and clarity with her. The conversation entailed that my mother-in-law showed her all the still images I gave her. I gave her every single one from every scan, and she believed that she can see. A nub apparently alluding it is a boy. Seeking further clarification, she is no longer a practicing midwife, retired, and has no experience reading ultrasounds. I quote, "I took a guess. Absolutely furious. I expressed how it wasn't even okay to have a guess. She explained that my mother-in-law took it as gospel and that she apparently explained that she was only taking a wild guess. She then admitted it was wrong and apologized. I hung up. So, after all that, there is no really saying it is a boy. This retired bloody midwife just took a guess and my mother-in-law took it as bloody gospel. Gosh, I am pissed. Not that I was after a lawsuit, but there is no foundation to a claim of breaching confidentiality. Either way, if this midwife is wrong or right, I understand it does not excuse any of the actions of my mother-in-law and her friend. My husband and I will be having this child in peace away from her for quite a while. Disgusting behavior. Honestly, even if it all is based on fallacies and wild guesses, I'm going in for my growth scan shortly, and I feel I should just find out now. Sex of the baby. I don't like the idea of being in suspense until he or she comes. In all cases, my mother-in-law ruined this for my husband and I. And I know by finding out it deprecates the whole point of having a surprise. But I feel it's ruined anyway. Alas, my husband and I, if we do choose to find out, mother-in-law is not notified, and it will be kept private until they arrive. We will not be entertaining contact and visitations for quite a while. Thank you all for your lovely and kind messages. Me and my husband have cracked up at some of your replies, bringing us some joy at this time. Thank you all. Willow Beep, you held your ground, saw the truth surface, and protected your peace. Now you focus on your baby, your boundaries, and building a future rooted in trust, not damage control. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update, Story 2, Am I the A-hole? And it's by user LuckyFlamingo3972. Am I the aho for destroying my best friend's relationship with his fiancée and telling everyone to F off because I don't feel guilty of am I the a-hole? And I have been friends with Carlos for 28 years because our mothers were great friends and we have spent basically our whole lives together. Despite being very different, he is more extroverted, makes friends in a blink of an eye, and always has nonsensical jokes ready. On the other hand, I am more reserved, calculating, and controlling. Our mothers always said we were like black and white, but somehow we got along. Carlos recently got engaged to his girlfriend Marlene, and for a couple of months, they had been planning the wedding. Although I do not like her very much because of her. Look at me. I'm here, everyone. Look at me, character. We never really had fights or arguments. It's just a skin thing. The whole mess started 2 weeks ago while I was walking my dog. I rescued a 10-year-old German Shepherd named Kimmy after the Formula One driver. From a distance, I saw Marlene at a bar with another guy at a table talking. I thought nothing of it, but when we reached the crosswalk at a red light, Molin and the guy began kissing each other pretty passionately. I was taken aback for a few moments, but then took out my phone and took a photo and a quick video, zooming in on them. Here comes the first issue. I immediately sent the photo and video to Carlos, almost sure that there was some kind of explanation because, come on, they were engaged and planning a wedding. Carlos saw the photo and video but did not reply. And for 2 days, there was only silence. Then 10 days ago, at 3 a.m., he arrived at my house while I was sleeping. I saw him on my monitor, and when he approached the door, still a bit sleepy, I noticed the bags and told him that one of the guest rooms was upstairs and that I had just refilled the fridge and then went back to sleep. The next morning, he told me what happened. Apparently, Marlene had been cheating on him for 9 months with this guy. When he confronted her with texts, the photo, and the video, she dropped the cheater's act, Carlos's words. He then went straight to my house after spending hours yelling and arguing with her. I asked him what his plan was, and he told me that he didn't want to see her for any reason and needed to break off the engagement. I agreed with him and told him he could stay as long as he wanted, but asked him not to tell my 7-year-old adopted daughter about this mess because she is innocent in all of this, and drama is the last thing she needs. So, to the main point of this post, apparently I became the real reason why they broke up. Since Carlos arrived at my house, it's like everyone has turned against me with stuff like, none of this would have happened if you had your mouth shut, and similar comments. But every time I respond with, thanks for letting me know, and go to hell. I reply this to a barrage of texts, calls, and people coming to my house. Sincerely, I don't feel very guilty, but many are saying that I shouldn't have sent him the photo and video immediately. Instead, I should have talked with Carlos, since apparently right now, everyone thinks I'm the worst and the real reason why they broke up. And only a few are saying I did the right thing. I want to hear others' opinions. So, am I the a-hole for exposing everything? Or should I have done something different? Opie, you're not the a-hole. You didn't break them up. Malene did. You didn't lie, exaggerate, or cause a scene. You simply exposed the truth and Carlos handed it how anyone with self-respect would. Could you have sat him down gently and talked it through first? Maybe. But let's be real. A photo and a video of your fiancé making out with another man isn't ambiguous. This wasn't a maybe we should talk about it thing. It was a hard stop. So, no. OPI, you're not the a-hole. And everyone telling you otherwise, they're just idiots. What do you guys think? Update. Almost 2 weeks have passed, and unfortunately, Carlos isn't managing this whole drama well. I'm doing my best to support him and be there for him. I can guarantee that seeing your best friend crying and blaming himself because his ex-fiancé cheated on him isn't easy at all. And even for someone as cold as me, it's heartbreaking. So, I decided to take action and finally show that actions have real-life consequences. Knowing only the name and last name of the affair partner, I asked a connection for a favor. A simple background check on who this guy is. 2 days ago, I received the result and got the full picture. He isn't a random guy. He's Marlene's boss. According to my connection, ever since the affair started, Marlene, she works as a lawyer, began receiving big cases and managing major clients. What a surprise. But the most interesting part is that Marlene wasn't the first. Her boss had done this with 2 other women, and their law firm was looking for any excuse to fire him. A very simple plan immediately came to mind. Why not give that excuse an extra push? Using Carlos's screenshots of their chat and my photo and video evidence, I created a very clear case of this behavior. The most surprising part, when I told Carlos what would happen, explaining the consequences, and how he needed to think it through before regretting it, his reply surprised me. Hell yeah, he said immediately. So we sent our proof via a temporary email, and yesterday, the good news arrived extremely quickly. The firm fired Marion's boss on the spot, and her too. I honestly didn't expect her to be fired, but apparently, karma doesn't show mercy. Guess who had a meltdown at my house today? Screaming and yelling every insult you can imagine. Exactly. Maine. She screamed for 2 hours that we ruined their lives, that she knew we were the ones, and threatened to sue us for ruining her life. All that type of stuff. But what I couldn't have imagined is that one of my neighbors called the police on her through the cameras on my gate. The officers saw her behavior and had to physically remove her from my property. They then spoke with us, but we obviously played it dumb and casually explained the situation. Fortunately, they understood and didn't press further. Do I feel bad about it? Guilty? Absolutely not. Actually, seeing Carlos laugh at Merlin's meltdown was both surprising and funny. He genuinely enjoyed watching an adult lose it. So, that's the situation, and I really hope I don't have to update again, because now the focus is simply on seeing my best friend smile and laugh again. He even jokingly asked if he could stay at my house longer and if he'd have to start paying rent. But I reassured him it was fine as long as my daughter stayed out of all of this. Well, OP, I have nothing else to say except to quote Carlos. Hell yeah. Well done, OP. You are a really good friend to Carlos. Love it. Thanks for sharing, OP. And take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So, here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.